Creepy Uncle Joe. 3 more women come forward with allegations against Biden after pledge to change behavior. 3 additional women came forward on Wednesday to say former Vice President Joe Biden touched them in ways that made them uncomfortable shortly after Biden, in a 2-minute video, pledged to be more mindful of women's personal space. The women, Vail Connert-Yount, Sophie Kazarak, and Ali Cole, recounted instances in which they say Biden touched them in a Washington Post article published late Wednesday. By the way, Joe Biden, at this point, with all these allegations, the Trump administration already has the guest list set for the debates if Joe Biden is the nominee. They already have that set. They know who's going to be there if Joe Biden's the nominee. Creepy Uncle Joe. Creepy. And this is just another, for instance, of Joe Biden being disconnected. And the apologists for him, really? Really? First of all, we got a real lesson from the Mick resistance this week. The big lesson from the Mick resistance this week was, believe all women unless they say something about a politician we like. Then, all of a sudden, and then they flipped it on Bernie. They blamed Bernie's staff for this, by the way. And then they said, well, what about the harassment in Bernie's camp? Oh, you mean when he apologized for it profusely, didn't know it had went on, and since then his staff has unionized to try to prevent something like that from happening in the future, and he has given that his blessing. Whereas, by the way, when there was harassment in the Clinton campaign, the person responsible was promoted, and the person who was the victim was told to shut up when that happened in the Clinton campaign. Oh, and Amy Klobuchar throws staplers at her staff. Oh, it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Like in the Mediterranean, they're more affectionate. You know where Joe Biden's from? Delaware. That's where Joe Biden's from. Is that a cultural thing? Is that a Delaware thing? That's Delaware. They're just a little more touchy-feely, and they have bank call centers. That's what they do in Delaware. They just hug and then go, let's collect debt. Let's collect some money for CEOs. That's just what they do there. It's a cultural thing. No, it's not a cultural thing. It's Joe Biden's completely disconnected. He understands he has power, and he's creepy. That's a fair accolade to put on him. He's creepy. I know, creepy's a bit. No, he's creepy. And, I feel like this is just the icing on the cake of why he should not be the nominee in 2020. And if he is, Trump won. If Joe Biden is the nominee, there's no way. And you can blame me because, I guarantee if Joe Biden's the nominee, I'm voting for the Green Party candidate. I'm not voting for Joe Biden. I'm not going to do it. And no matter what I do or anyone else does, Trump's going to win. I'm 1 vote in California. I understand what the Electoral College is, so I'm not going to give my vote to such a terrible candidate. And no matter what I would do, Joe Biden would lose anyway. There's no way Joe Biden would win. And I have a feeling, this has been in the news now for about a week. I think he's done. I really do. I don't think he's going to run at this point. But we'll see what happens. You never know. It's hard to project the narcissism of a politician. And this is coming from someone in show business, by the way. This is coming from somebody in show business. The fact that I can look at a Beto O'Rourke and be like, that's one of the most narcissistic things I've ever fucking seen in my life. That's coming from a comedian who is in show business. Between working on a political comedy show and being in show business, I am around so many self-absorbed personalities all the time. And I lump myself into this. You have to have a certain amount of, you have to have a certain amount. I don't know if narcissism is the right word for it. Maybe that's a little harsh, but you have to do something like this, you have to have a certain amount of kind of being into yourself, because you have to, every day you have to wake up and tell the world, hey, I need to be relevant. I got to be relevant because I'm relevant, I think. I'm trying to be. You got to do that. So you got to have a little bit of it. I think there's such thing as a healthy amount of it. My point is, it's hard to dive into the narcissism of a politician at the level of a Joe Biden. I would say he is probably not quite at a Clinton level. So I have a feeling he's not going to run. Would I be shocked if he did? No, I wouldn't be shocked. But I have a feeling this is sort of the nail in the neoliberal coffin. But we'll see. We'll see. So 3 more women. 3 more women for Creepy Joe. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your